everybody. Welcome back to the One Step Better Business Podcast, where we try to help business owners get one step better in their journey. Today is going to be no different. You have probably at some point in your business ownership journey had a little bit of a trust issue in your books, in your numbers, in your financial statements. So, we're going to talk about how to identify that, how to fix it, why those things happen, and probably a little bit more. But before we do that, Matthew Patrick,
What's up, Mike?
I got a question for you. If
Okay.
you could combine any two major sports into a brand new sport, what would it be?
Football and hockey or football and basketball might be fun. Football and basketball. I'll say football and
So
basketball.
are you playing football with a basketball?
I think you're playing basketball with football pads.
Oh, like full contact basketball.
Full contact basketball.
That'd be pretty fun.
Not to play, but to watch.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good athletes. They're jumping. You can just totally blow them up. That'd be fun. You?
Cool. I think this already exists, but
It's called pickleball, Mike.
Soccer, volleyball. I've seen
that.
The folks that play volleyball with soccer, like using their feet.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Futsal, maybe that's what it's called.
No, that's different.
Uh,
Futsal's different. I don't remember. I don't know what it's called.
It's football, volleyball.
Soccer, volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Those are some impressive athletes.
You've seen the dogs play volleyball? Like there was a dog that was like
No,
playing beach volleyball. Yeah.
a dog.
He popped the ball up and knocked it over. Yep. It's pretty impressive.
I need him on my team.
Yeah.
I need two of him to beat my team.
That's right.
That's fun. All right, let's jump in. Oftentimes,
it could have been AI. I don't know.
it wasn't even a real video.
Maybe not.
Oftentimes we get to meet with business owners that at some point have had the realizing event. Hey, this just isn't working for me. I don't have a clear picture of where I'm at, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, whether it's, I feel like I'm not making as much as I should, or I'm doing really well, but I don't have any money in the bank. Sometimes it's, hey, you know what? My bank is asking for some financial statements and I started looking at them and I don't think that these are financial statements.
Yeah, that's right.
There's always some kind of underlying reason where a business owner looks and says, you know what, this is just too messy.
Yep.
Why is that a thing?
Well, why is that a thing in general? I think it's because the owner has a lot of other priorities and probably selling was important to them, or developing a product, or whatever it was, cooking food if they were a chef. The bookkeeping side of things is something that not all of them love to do, right? So, or they don't feel like they have the skill set. They don't know how to do it. We run into this a lot at different, I'll say, points in a business life cycle. Most of the time they've either had an event, or a bookkeeper's quit, or the spouse was doing it and they passed away and now the other spouse is picking it up and they have no idea what they're doing. Generally what happens is it gets to the point where it just overwhelms them and they don't even know where to start. Like that's where I feel like most of them get to, like, I don't even know, it's so bad now I don't know where we begin. And I think that's where we run into a lot of when we're seeing somebody that comes to us, says, hey, my books are in shambles. I have no idea where we are. I have no idea which money I have. I have no idea who owes us money or who we owe money to. We've had that happen over the years, and generally it's because it snowballed all of them to the point where it's now overwhelmed them.
Why is good bookkeeping, a good set of financial statements, why is that important?
It gives you a very clear picture of where the money is coming in and going out. It will tell you exactly how your business is doing from a number standpoint. It gives you transparency for tax reporting, so you can make sure you know what you're going to owe in tax, or at least what you're making. Tells you where your cash is bleeding out, but also, I mean, you have to track, you are invoicing your customers who owes you money, and I have bills to pay. Who do I have to pay bills to, and when are they all coming up due? Having a system that you can rely on to make decisions from is the jumping off point for all things. Really, I think it's the foundation for every business.
When you said systems, so let's get into the weeds just a little bit. With that. When you say you have a system by which you're invoicing customers, recording expenses, revenue, all that kind of stuff, what are you considering as part of that system? Like where do I start? How do I fix that? Like what is the system piece of it?
Well, It starts with making sure you're actually capturing all the ins and all the outs, right? So for me, that would be, do we have a process by which we are going to invoice our customer or collect the funds for the services or the products that we're selling? Do I know who's owes me if I'm doing invoice and I'm waiting on money to come in? Do I have a system for tracking that? That could be old school accordion folder with a folder for every customer. That can be a system like QuickBooks. Having a system. I don't care what the system is first. I care that you have a system. One of the first clients I had a folder for every vendor she'd ever paid. If it was one check, it got a folder and a label, and that's where that bill was, and that's where the check, that when she cut the check. Was it an efficient system? No, but it was a system. And so,
And it was being followed.
and she did it every single time. How much money is in the checkbook? How much money do I have today? How much money do I have that I've already committed, I've already spent a check for, but it hasn't cleared the bank yet? What do I have coming up due for sales tax? All those things. I want to have a system for understanding all the ins and all the outs. Um, you can, we talk about accounts or categories or, how you want to break down your expenses. That isn't as important except for other reporting you want to do. But as long as you have, like, every time I pay a utility bill, it goes in the utility bill folder. That is a system, and it's probably not the worst system in the world. I've seen a lot worse than that. And if you had a system, that's where you start. In today's age, I'd obviously recommend technology to make that a little bit easier. And we are a QuickBooks Online firm, or Restaurant 365. Those are systems that we know how to use, and we help you implement along the way to make sure we know what your responsibilities and our responsibilities are. But usually what happens is they had a QuickBooks, it kind of is up to date. We were invoicing in there, but we started getting some payments and we didn't post the payments against what we were owed. So now I don't know which ones are right and which ones are wrong. I have some bills in there that I've already paid, and I'm not sure which bills I have paid and which bills I haven't paid. I haven't updated my bank account or reconciled my bank account ever. Um, every time I have a new expense or new vendor, I'm creating them as a category. That's not a thing. And so we find that sometimes it just gets overwhelming. They're way behind. And so we just want to systematize how we want to organize, and we'll have a system that you repeat every single time.
I think a lot of people have good intentions. I don't ever desire for my stuff to get messy and out of control or
Correct.
out of whack, but I also don't maybe have the discipline or the desire or sometimes even the training and understanding to actually keep up with this stuff on a regular basis. And
Yep.
so when my intentions are pure and my actions are not followed, then I'm going to end up with a big old pile of mess.
Yep. And at some point, that mess not might hurt you day to day. It could be where, like, hey, I pay who I owe. I kind of know close enough who owes me money. I kind of know close enough how much money's in the bank. I don't know exactly what I'm making, but I kind of know that I have this much money to spend, and that will work a little. It's like all those things where I kind of do this
Yep.
and I kind of do that. Well, then you kind of know. You don't really know, and you're not gonna be able to make decisions off of that data, so it's not very useful to you. You're gonna get to tax time, and then you're gonna say, "Well, here's my stuff I have," and the accountant's gonna come back to you and go, based on what I'm seeing, I have a bunch of questions, but we're out of time and I got to get this done. And so this is as close as I really can get it, which is a terrible answer. Oh, and by the way, you owe $25,000. And you're like, I don't have $25,000. And that's when we say, that's probably the byproduct of not having a good system.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, and that's really kind of a lot of times the genesis of where we start with clients. It's they've had a system that worked good enough,
mhm.
and I kind of knew, and then there's typically the just that eh, the straw that breaks the camel's back of saying, you know what, I'm not okay with kind of knowing anymore.
Correct.
I want to know. And oftentimes that starts from the standpoint of what you just mentioned is, hey, my accountant is now telling me I owe 25K plus I owe them on top of that.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know what's
I don't
going
like
on
this
here.
answer. Right. I don't like
Yeah.
this answer. Yeah. I mean, and so when we talk a lot when we bring a new client on, like, what is your system today? And they'll go, well, here's how we do this and here's how we do that. And we'll go through, okay, but your books aren't showing me that you're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Or, hey, this is really hard to make. This is a system that's really hard to maintain. So that's why it's not as you're not getting the data out of it you want. So we want to put them into a simple system that we work collaboratively with them. And we want their responsibility to clear what we want them to do every day, every week, every month. The same thing for us.
And when we talk about system, really what it is the recording all of your bank, credit card, loan activity, all your financial activity, every single, on a
Recurring frequency. Yeah.
regular frequency, so that there's never that something is missing moment. Now, just having a good system of doing that isn't always enough though, because then we have to start to actually make that system working well for us.
Correct.
We got to start to optimize things, right? So, um, and honestly, that's bookkeeping.
Yep.
I'm taking all of my bank transactions, for example. I'm making sure those are coded correctly. I'm reconciling my bank. I now know that everything has been recorded. Might be in the wrong bucket, but at least it's recorded.
If it's in a bucket, that's a good first start.
Yeah, that tells me my system is working to some extent. That I've captured everything.
Correct.
Once I've captured everything, though, what do I got to start thinking about next?
What's the data actually telling me? Number one. So like if I have data and it's not telling me the right story, or it's telling me something that doesn't make sense, or I have miscategorized something, I now have to get those things in the bucket so I can analyze them and make decisions from them. And so when I think about the steps that I'm going to take, I'm going to get everything captured, make sure nothing's missing. Then I'm going to start getting it dialed in to be where I can make decisions from it. And so that's where, having the count groupings the appropriate way, having information I want to have broken out very visible to me. So, in our case, when we talk about, labor, how's labor being shown on your books? How is your revenue being tracked by revenue type, for instance? And so we're going to want to go through that step by step. And we do that through our onboarding process. But even after that, it's an evolution. So in the very beginning, depending on where you're coming from, it may have you gone from nothing to something, and then something is a little better, and then we continue getting it a little better over time.
If you're a listener out there and you're thinking, hey, you know what, my books probably aren't clean, or maybe I don't have one, where would you say this is where you should start? This is step one.
Well, I'd want to find out, is everything that we're doing being captured? Like that has to start. That's where I have to start. So we often find like, well, yeah, I most of the things are on my company business account, my checking account, but I do pay for these 3 bills with this credit card that is over here personally, and it's recurring, and I haven't ever included that in my books. Or, we did get a new car loan. I see the payment going out, but I don't have the asset on my books. So I'm not taking depreciation on it. Or, hey, we have a line of credit that we take from time to time, but it's nowhere showing on my books. Or I've paid off this credit card loan, but it still shows that I'm showing there's a balance left in due. I know that we don't have that car anymore. All those are things that we're going to try to make sure we go line by line through your financial statements and your books in the very beginning to start from there. But it starts with making sure that nothing's being missed. So we're going to ask a lot of questions around, hey, I see you have 4 cars on the books. Do you have all 4 cars still? No, we got 2 of these cars have been traded off a long time ago. Okay, let's get that off the books. And then it'd be, okay, well, I see that you made 4 credit card payments this month. Well, this one's a personal credit card. These are my 3 business cards. Okay, that personal card, are there any charges there that are ever going to be for business? Well, then we need to make sure we are, capturing those expenses. And so just having a system and process to make sure that first everything is captured. Then we're going to systematize your chart of accounts so that the accounting and groupings of how we want to group expenses and income and everything on your balance sheet is appropriately being in the right bucket. And then we're going to, from there, say, is this enough data that you need to have to make decisions from? Is there something else you'd want to see? Or let's educate you on why I believe that how this is set up is the way that will help you make decisions from it.
A lot of business owners will start with, hey, I'm going to do this myself.
Yep.
I'll figure it out as I go. At what point should somebody start to consider maybe hiring like a bookkeeper to come in, or an accounting firm, or like giving that to somebody else, those responsibilities to somebody else?
Well, I would say, it's kind of like the Eisenhower matrix a little bit. Is this something you're good at and something that you would love to do? And do you have the time and you have the capacity to do it? Do you have the time and the education and the knowledge of how you want things done? Most of the time that business owner is pulled in 14 different directions. And so I'd recommend earlier rather than later. It may be delegating a piece of that. Okay, so we're going to have a system for paying bills, or hey, I want you to keep up with the checkbook every day. and have a place where all receipts when I go spend money on my debit card or my credit card go. But I want to start delegating pieces probably at first, and then eventually, or if I don't have the capacity now, go ahead and bite that bullet. That's money probably well spent, because you're going to get a lot more than just bookkeeping from that relationship. So it could be tax savings, it could be efficiencies in the business that you can make decisions from to make your business more profitable. And so I do it pretty early. I think it would be something I would want to do, unless I have the expertise that makes sense for me to do that
Yeah.
myself.
I think a lot of people undervalue the bookkeeping component of things. When I think about an accountant or a CPA, that's the person that's going to come in and do my tax return, or that's the person I'm going to go to when I'm thinking about maybe selling my business and I'm trying to figure out how that's going to impact my tax situation, or it's going to be the person I go to because I need a little bit of finance help.
Yep.
I don't think about that person as somebody's going to come in and clean up my day to day financial operations.
I've seen, this for as I'm first starting my business, I may just want to have somebody, I may be reaching out to an accountant to help me establish the system. I don't know what system I should have, which goes back to that lady who every vendor was a folder. Yeah, the first thing I said was, wouldn't it make more sense to do this by month at least if you're going to do it? And then when you have it in your books, you can say, well, I spent this money at MLGW in July. I can look at the July folder and there's MLGW bill. Like, that'd be a lot easier than every month I have to add. I wrote, we went to another gas station next month. I have a receipt for Exxon in, you know, Blytheville or whatever. What am I doing with that receipt? Do I have a spot for it? And so I just want to go through that process and try to establish the system first. Um, but at some point, there's pieces of this that having uh, what we talk about a lot is like the collaborative aspect of this. There's pieces that make sense for you to always keep in house, and there's pieces of this that make sense to find a partner that makes sense to help you both strategically, and on the bookkeeping side. That's the foundation for us, for anybody being able to make strategic decisions from that. So I want to have a good sound system that we can rely on.
Yeah. So some takeaways here. A system is better than no system.
Correct.
An optimized system is better than a system. And so there, you can take some baby steps there. Um, I think another thing for me is it is easy for a business owner to abdicate the responsibility of finance or accounting or bookkeeping somewhere else.
Yep.
And that is super dangerous. But there's a kind of a line that you walk where I'm outsourcing this stuff, whether that's through an internal hire or external, place. I'm outsourcing this stuff because I'm not good at it. I don't like to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. So I need help. But then I'm also the owner of my business and I want to be in control of this, or I should say, I should be in control of this. I should be on top of it. I should know what's going on. And that's a difficult balance for a lot of people to walk.
For sure. And there's a vulnerability there of admitting that, like, hey, I don't know what I'm looking at. We talked about this when we talked about, having conversation with your accountant. The hardest thing we have is the expectations. I should know this. I should understand this. I should know what I'm doing. It's okay that you don't. You're not an expert in this. What you shouldn't do is abdicate the responsibility of understanding what this is telling you. You should understand that this is a collaborative process between, it's a trust but verify thing. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, if your accountant is giving you financial statements, you should understand what you're getting. If you don't, you should speak up. Say, hey, I appreciate you getting me this stuff. I know it's important. I don't understand what I'm looking at. Can we go through this?
Well, how is this even helpful for me?
Why do I need this? I don't know
Yeah.
what decisions I'm going to make from
Yeah.
this. The money in the bank doesn't, like, I don't understand what these numbers mean. It's your accountant's responsibility to help you, educate you on what is important for you to look at and what decisions you can make from those financial statements.
Yeah. A good way to level up your own business owner acumen
Yep.
is understanding that
The
stuff.
thing that this topic gets me around is we've had a lot of clients that, like I said, this has snowballed on them, and they could be a year, 2 years, 3 years behind, and they don't even know where to begin. First of all, this is something we see every day, and so we have a system in mind of how we'd want to tackle getting you caught back up, trying to put all the pieces back into the puzzle.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how I think of it, is like, it could be 30 or 40, 50 piece puzzle that we have to put back together. We're going to ask a lot of questions about, hey, I see this payment to this thing. I don't see that you had this anywhere on your books. Or, hey, what did you do here with this check that you wrote 2 years ago? Well, that's a hard thing for you to know, right? To go to the bank, get information, what the check was for. But having a step-by-step approach is going to allow us to get you caught back up, get it back under control, and then maintain that system going forward.
Yeah, honestly, that's part of what I like about accounting
Yeah.
is that there's typically a cleanup process. We call that onboarding or
Yeah.
implementation. And it's taken a big old pile of junk and making it into a picture. Now, we sometimes we don't like what that picture looks like.
Yep.
Sometimes we do, but you can at least see it and understand it. And then everything is so systematic. You don't like you set it up and it just kind of works
Yep.
when done right and it's actively maintained. Um, that's the fun part.
Yep.
I would say it's the norm for us to get what we would say is a crappy set of books.
Like, I would
Internally,
imagine out of the last 100 sets of books, new clients we brought on board, we would have probably said 99 of them had a crappy set of books when
yeah,
they started with us.
it's
The
a
reality is they're not probably crappy. To us, they're crappy.
it's an inside joke that
Yeah.
whenever we're reviewing a new client set of books, at some point somebody's going to say these books are crap.
Yep.
Because it's from our perspective,
Yeah.
from a lot of times their perspective, it's good enough and they're not wrong,
Right.
but it's just not as clean as what we would want it to be because that cleanliness is what again it shows the picture.
Yep.
And we see a picture, we can actually start to change things.
Correct.
And so I would say don't get frustrated or think that you're alone if you feel like this isn't as good as you want it to be. That's
Yeah.
norm.
Yep. That's perfectly normal. And we are accountants. We have a bunch of accountants that work here, right? And so they're all going to think that theirs aren't as good as they could
Yeah.
be. And
Yeah.
and you know what? They probably if a client leaves us, the next accountant probably goes, "These are crappy set of
This
books."
is terrible.
Yeah. So it's probably no different. But we will say we will have a plan to keep you on system, and it is our job to hold you accountable to that system, and that you're getting the information. And you're actually going to make decisions from it. That's our goal. We want to get you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Any last thoughts?
No, don't be afraid and about how bad it is. As long as you have the intention of saying, okay, today is a day, we're going to get this right. It's time. We can help you get there.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Super glad that you have tuned in to us. A couple of things. We have a tool on our website, a blog article. It's called Signs It's Time for a Bookkeeping Cleanup and What to Do About it. It's going to be a detailed checklist of how to go through your own set of financials and see, is this working for me? So I'd encourage you to check that out. There's a couple of other articles that you can find there that's about bookkeeping. I promise you, this is one of the underlining secrets of a good accounting process is how good the bookkeeping is. So it's something you need to spend some time on. Take a look at that checklist, see how well you're following it, and let us know if you need some help. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.